Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Friday Night Frenzy, the show the players watch. I'm Sam Ali, and I am running out of hair gel. I'll be taking donations all weekend. Enough about me, though. We have a full docket of great matchups tonight in high school football, so let's begin in Norway as the upstart Knights look to stay undefeated as they face Nagani. First quarter, Miners inside the 5, ball goes to Neil Violetta, and he pushes his way into the end zone for the touchdown. Nagani sticking with the ground and pound early on. Norway trying to do the same, but the Miners' defense wasn't having any of it. A little later, Josh Plant. He's going to drop back, and he will be taken down for the sack. More from the Miners' defense as they sniff out the ball carrier and force a fumble. Jacob Ennett picks it up, and he would lose it for a second, but the possession stays with the Miners. A few plays later, my favorite quarterback, Brock Aho, with the fake, and he finds Luke Matson. A few yards later, Matson finds the end zone. Nagani stays undefeated with a 28-14 win as they hand Norway their first loss of the season. To the scoreboards now. Iron Mountain has no trouble in Manistee as the Mountaineers knock off the Emeralds 43-14. Ishpeming travels beyond the border to Okanto, and the Hematites get a much-needed road win, 22-12 the final there. Ishpeming takes on Nagani next week. Can't wait for that one. Let's go to Gwynn now as Neon Dion Brown and the Model Towners hosted Westwood. First quarter, Gwynn up 6-0. Play action, Kevin Roberts throws, and he's got a man in the end zone, Jalen Skinner. 2-point conversion is good as the Model Towners take a 14-0 lead. Second quarter now, Patriots with the ball. And Nathan Beckman, he's going to roll to his right. Nobody's open, so he says, you know what, I'll just take care of this myself. Nice gain there, but Westwood would face a 4th and long in the red zone. Beckman now back to drop, and the pass is broken up by Chris Bosworth. Turnover on downs as the Boz gets a little shaken up. 2 plays later, Roberts to the far side of the field, and K-Rob, he could go all the way. The Model Towners improved to 4-2 as they top Westwood 34-0 the final score. More scores now as Gladstone went out east to Sault Ste. Marie, and the Braves get the win over the Blue Devils 28-6. Kingsford staved off a late rally from Marquette as the Flivers get the home win over the Redmen 42-28 the final score. Let's go down to Delta County as the 5-0 Escanaba Eskimos face the #1 team in the Big 5 poll, Menominee. First quarter, Maroons near the goal line, close enough for Kiefer Reisner as he runs in for the score, +2, and Menominee has an 8-0 lead. But the Eskimos, they would answer. Justin Popelka drops back. He's going to find Tyler Willett in the end zone. PAT is good, but Escanaba was still down by 1. Second quarter, Maroons in the red zone again. Ethan Molesky to Levi Kempka in the flat. Makes a man miss, carries a few defenders with him, and that's a touchdown for Menominee as they take a 12-7 lead. But don't count out Eski at the 1-yard line. Cody Vandermissen bulldozes his way into the end zone, and the Eskimos take a 14-12 lead over the Maroons. But in the second half, Menominee showed why they are one of the elite teams in all the land. They shut out the Eskimos in the final half. Maroons stay undefeated. They get the win 28-14. More scores now as Hancock scores with 1 second left on the clock to get the road win over the Hurley Midgets 47-40. The Bulldogs are 4-2. Big win for North Dickinson as they get the home shutout over Munising 40-0. Big props, though, to the Mustangs' Corey Cody as he had 19 tackles on the night. To Calumet, it was the Copper Kings knocking off West Iron County 34-7. Rory Anderson had 101 yards and 3 TDs for Calumet, who stay undefeated within the conference, 5-1 overall. Lance tops Ironwood on the road, 32-20 the final there. The Forest Park Trojans, well, they hosted Kearney Nadeau, and the Trojans start us off. A pass from quarterback Tommy Peltoma, connecting with Parker Sundell, who ran it into the end zone for a 40-yard touchdown. 2-point conversion, and the Trojans lead 8-0. The second Trojans touchdown came from Daniel Nasserini. After a 2-point conversion, the Trojans took their lead to 16. The Trojans just didn't want to stop. Next up, Connor Bartolini, who had the ball handed off to him, and then he runs in for the touchdowns. The Trojans would end up winning this game by a final score of 60-12. We have reached halftime on this edition of Friday Night Frenzy. Still to come, the 2-minute drill. as we hear from Norway head coach Bob Madigan about tonight's game against Nagani. We'll be right back with more on Friday Night Frenzy. Welcome back to Friday Night Frenzy. Let's get right into the 2-minute drill presented by UP Health System Rehab Services and UP Rehab Services. They get you back in the game. Our guest tonight is Norway head coach Bob Madigan, and I spoke with him after tonight's loss against Nagani.
All right, Coach. A really good effort from your team tonight, but not exactly the result that you wanted. What stood out to you from tonight's game?
It was a good game, 28-14. Nagani was a very physical team. We hung in there is what stood out for me. They had us down 21-0. We took the ball, we drove down, we were on the 20-yard line. We fumbled the ball. It was a big play. And then Nagani took the game over from there. And when they had us 21-0, it was a tough situation we were in. We picked off a pass, and then we scored before half. We picked off a pass, and we scored before half. So that got us back into the game. Then we stuck with it and hung with them the rest of the game. We were right in with them, and like I said, they were physical. They're a well-coached team. They're a big team. And they have some real nice running backs, and they just handled us up front. And we tried to squeeze out some plays here and there. We got a couple touchdowns and kept the game at least interesting. But in the end, Nagani was a better football team.
What was the message to the boys in the locker room?
Well, the message to the boys is we're a Division 8 team. We're 212 kids. And Nagani is 400 kids, and they're a Division 6 team. And we hung with them pretty decent. And they're 6-0, and they're ranked number 1 in the state. So, we played a pretty good football game with a school twice our size and a very good, well-coached team. So, my message to the kids were next week we have another football game. And our goal here is to get into these playoffs. And we get 6 wins. We're in the playoffs. And then we're playing, D8 schools. We're not playing D6 schools anymore. And, I don't want to complain about size, whatever. But you could see, two of my coaches walked down and said, Coach Madigan, and they were bigger, faster, and stronger. And you guys stood with them as best you could. And he says, that's what it looked like from the press box. And I said, well, it looked pretty much the same way from the field, too.
Big thanks to Coach Madigan for being on with us tonight. Before we get to the college football previews brought to you by Northern Michigan Bank and Trust, let's talk a little football. After opening the season 0-4, the Northern Michigan men's soccer team has been on fire, rattling off 3 straight wins, including one against a nationally ranked opponent. Today, they hosted Saginaw Valley State in the first of 4 straight games at home in their schedule. Let's go to the first half. Cardinals looking for a deep shot, but Filippo Torelli is there. He's taken down. No whistle, but he does hold on for the save. Minutes later, throw in near the Cardinals' goal. The defense does a good job to keep it out of the box, but Ivar Ernesson comes out of nowhere for the shot, and it gets inside the post and bounces out. Tough break for NMU. A few minutes later, SVSU catches a break, and it's Jordan Kalk who sends it in to give the Cardinals a 1-0 lead. Corner kick in the 18th minute. It looks great, and Ernesson with the header, but the goalie knocks it out. Another close one for the Wildcats. No goals were scored in the second half, so it's Saginaw Valley holding on to get the road win over Northern. 1-0 the final score. The NMU women's soccer team were also at home today as they hosted Ohio Dominican, and the Lady Wildcats fall 2-0 to the Panthers. They are still looking for their first win of the season. And out in Houghton, it was the Huskies knocking off Findlay 2-1 thanks to an overtime goal from MTU's Marissa DeMario. Gilead volleyball scores down as the Lady Huskies hosted Findlay tonight, and they fall 3-2. Mariah Sherman had 14 kills for MTU. NMU was also at home taking on my alma mater, Wayne State, and the Warriors get the win tonight over the Wildcats 3-2. Madison Whitehead with 15 kills for NMU. All right, college football now, as the Wildcats will look for their 3rd win of the season as they host Walsh tomorrow. NMU has been involved in a lot of nail-biters, and head coach Chris Ostrowski says it shows how well this team battles adversity.
It's been a process for us, and we've been chopping the tree the same way for 4.5 years now, and we're starting to see a little bit of the light, if you will. With that being said, like you said, in the last a year and a half, we could be going through a pretty special run for us in regards to our program and winning football games. So we know we're on track. We know it's only a matter of time, but it's great to see us winning these games moving forward.
As for the Huskies, they are coming off a tough loss at Hillsdale, but they need a quick turnaround for tomorrow's homecoming game at Sherman Field against Saginaw Valley State.
There's a whole bunch of us that are fighting to get up in that upper echelon, but I think there's about 7 or 8 of us right now that are in that 3-1, 2-1, 2-2 mark, and so now the fight is there every week to try to get a W. This week, our homecoming game is one of those situations. We're 2-2, Saginaw's 2-2. Played some really good football games with them. They're a good, well-coached, tough, hard-nosed, physical football team.
Kickoff in Houghton is set for 1 p.m. Also, the WCHA hockey season kicks off this weekend for the Huskies and the Wildcats. MTU will travel to Minnesota Duluth to take on the 6th-ranked Bulldogs. First game is tomorrow just after 8 p.m. and Sunday's game will be at 5 o'clock. NMU will host the University of Victoria in an exhibition showdown at the Barrie Events Center. Puck drop on Sunday night is set for just after 7 o'clock. NFL, the Lions hit the road in Week 4 as they head to Soldier Field to battle the Chicago Bears. Kickoff is 1 o'clock. The Packers are on a bye. That will do it for me on this edition of Friday Night Frenzy. Here's a look at the top plays from tonight's action. Jimmy Kimmel is next here on ABC 10. From all of us here at the station, have a great night and a great weekend.